Hello, welcome back to Zim Watches. Today, we'd be learning how to wind a Rolex. If you want your Rolex keeping a perfect time forever, then you're going to have to learn to wind it correctly. According to Rolex, wearing your Rolex daily means you won't ever need to wind it. On the other hand, if you're the type to only wear your Rolex on special occasions, then you are going to need to wind it. Rolex watches hold their charge for, at least, 48 hours, sometimes more, depending on the model you get. This video is for those who belong to the second group of Rolex owners described above. We get it. Rolex watches are pretty expensive timepieces and wearing them every day can seem like sacrilege. But that would also mean you'd have to wind the watch manually before you wear it most times. Let our video help you. Why do I need to wind my Rolex manually? Sometimes, your watch may not need to be worn for days or weeks at a time for a variety of reasons. As is typical of watches, once they are not worn for a while, they begin to lose power and, consequently, become inaccurate. If this is the case and you've not worn your watch for a few days or even weeks, it's essential that you manually wind your Rolex before attempting to set the date, time, or day. The method you use in adjusting your watch will be influenced by whether you have a non-quickset or quickset Rolex. What are quickset and non-quickset Rolex watches? Rolex has always held the position of being a technical innovator when it comes to watch movement. In the year 1977, they designed something called a 3035 movement, and it was revolutionary, to say the least. The new quickset function enabled wristwatch wearers to adjust the date on their watches much easier and faster than in the past. If you just bought your Rolex in the last few days, weeks or years, then you've most likely bought a quickset watch. However, depending on the type, you may also have a non-quickset model. The best way to tell the difference is by finding out the model number of your Rolex. Once this has been found, you can always do a quick Google search or ask an official Rolex dealer to determine the movement present inside your Rolex. How to wind a Rolex. Now that you officially own a Rolex, it's vital that you know how to use it properly. Note that adjusting and winding your Rolex wristwatch does not entail using any tool. Nonetheless, you do need some technical know-how. Here we'll give you a step-by-step breakdown on how to wind your Rolex. For Rolex watches which have a screw-down crown, which is the most popular type, the winding is the normal procedure and it's usually the same method that applies to all Rolex watches. Unwind the crown by twisting it counterclockwise to the point where it's free of the screw threads holding it in place. Twist the crown clockwise approximately 30 times in order to wind the watch movement. Tip to remember: wind your Rolex first before you attempt to set the time. This will ensure the process is smoother. Setting the time on your Rolex wristwatch. Now, this part tends to get a bit tricky. If your Rolex is a model that does not have the part to check the date, then your job has been made much easier. However, depending on how old your watch is, you may have different instructions in order to adjust the day, time, or date of your Rolex. For Rolex watches without dates, pull the crown right to the last indentation. Twist the crown counter-clockwise or clockwise to regulate the hands of the watch. For Rolex watches with a date, non-quickset method, pull the crown out to the last indentation, which will immediately stop the second hand. Turn the crown counterclockwise until you get to the date you wish to set it to. Please note that this might take some time. Stop twisting the crown once the clock's hands are in the correct position. For Rolexes with a date, quickset method, pull the crown out to the first indentation. Twist the crown clockwise for women's watches and counterclockwise for men's watches in order to change the date. Pull the crown out to the last indentation to regulate the time. For Rolex watches with a date, double quickset method. Pull the crown out to the first indentation. To set the date, turn the crown clockwise. To change the day of the week, turn the crown counterclockwise. To set the time, pull the crown out to the last indentation and turn it counterclockwise or clockwise. For Rolex watches with a date and day quickset method, pull the crown out to the first indentation. To change the date, turn the crown counter clockwise to set the day, pull the crown out to the last indentation and turn it clockwise. Tip to remember: when you've finished fine-tuning your Rolex to the exact day, date, and time, make sure you screw the crown back into its case in order to ensure its movement is protected against debris and water. Other winding options. For a Rolex watch, if you're tired of having to manually wind your Rolex every single time you need to wear it, then you can always purchase a watch winder. A watch winder's job is to wind your watch while it's not being worn by you, and it also ensures your Rolex is kept in top form. Regularly winding your Rolex is vital, and it just may save you a bit of money needed for servicing in the long run. Rolex's perpetual self-winding movement. Rolex manufacturers developed a brilliant type of watch movement which is known as the perpetual self-winding movement. Instead of having to wind your watch daily, this perpetual watch movement winds itself with the simple movement of your wrist while you're wearing your Rolex. Note that if your Rolex sits motionless for 48 hours or more, it will not continue to self-wind. If your watch has stopped working, it needs to be wound. Do this by following the steps below. Place the Rolex wristwatch on a flat, soft surface. Unscrew the crown. The crown is located on the side of the watch where the 3 o'clock mark is located. To unscrew the crown, turn it counterclockwise until you hear or feel it release. When it releases, it will pop out a bit from the watch case. To wind your Rolex wristwatch, use your thumb and index finger to slowly turn the crown clockwise in a full rotation. Repeat this action at least 40 times. This is to ensure the watch is fully wound. If you're worried about overwinding your Rolex wristwatch, don't be, because they are built to prevent this from occurring. Screw the crown gently back inside the watch. If your watch still does not work after it's been wound and gently rotated, you may need to have it repaired or serviced. Cleaning and maintaining your Rolex watch. A Rolex wristwatch is a very valuable investment indeed, which means it must be properly and carefully maintained. It needs to be maintained properly, not just because it's expensive and valuable, but also so it functions properly. If you choose to wear your Rolex every day, great. However, it often leads to inevitable scratches and debris buildup, and over time, which might eventually make your Rolex begin to look dull. This will mean your Rolex may need a bit of cleaning up. If your Rolex watch operates on Oyster technology, as quite a number of them do, your watch can easily be washed without any fear of it being damaged. To properly wash your Rolex, which is waterproof, follow the steps below. Ensure your hands are clean before you begin the process. Make sure the winding crown is tightly screwed inside the case. To remove any loose particles from the Rolex, use lukewarm water to rinse it. Use ammonia-free soap to gently wash the external part of the watch. You can use an old soft toothbrush to achieve this because it can reach the watch's crevices, such as between bracelet links. When you've finished scrubbing, gently submerge the Rolex into clean water in short intervals to gently remove any excess soap and dirt. Complete the cleaning process by using a clean and soft cloth to gently pat the Rolex dry. Alternatively, you can use a blow dryer to achieve this. Set the dryer to a low heat setting and use it to dry hard-to-reach places such as in between links. Cleaning your Rolex wristwatch when it's dull and dirty is important, and so is servicing your Rolex. It is recommended that you get your Rolex serviced at least every 5 years. It is also recommended that you get your Rolex serviced by a certified Rolex dealer. Not only are they trained to maintain the precision a Rolex watch has, but they are also an excellent resource for any questions you may have about proper maintenance and cleaning required for a Rolex. Tips when cleaning your Rolex. Don't try to polish your Rolex. This should only be carried out by a certified repair center. While cleaning, if you notice any sign of water or condensation under the crystal, take your Rolex to a certified repair center immediately. If you've enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you'll know once we post a new video. Also, drop a comment below so we can know your thoughts. Finally, don't forget to check the description below for more details and visit our site, www.zimwatches.com for more awesome watch content like this.